All right, welcome to Mixed Media. We are a weekly podcast where we talk about all things related to art, mostly in our particular fields, but just art in general. And today we are doing our second, I don't want to say annual, but sort of, I guess we can say second annual Oscar review with the Oscars that just took place on Sunday. So we're slightly late and not on our normal time, but we hopefully have some interesting takes on the Oscars in our respective fields. So with that out of the way, let's introduce ourselves. So I'm Ben Costello. I'm a flute player and a media composer.
And I'm Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur. I own a company called Ariella.
I'm Nathan Nestor. I'm a game developer and 3D modeler.
Cool. How is your guys' week, by the way? Besides Oscar stuff, how are things? I know Ben had a special event.
Yeah, it was good. You know, I had spring break, so a lot of time to practice and listen to a lot of music. I listened to a ton of stuff, and yeah, like Irving mentioned, I had a really cool opportunity yesterday, which I think why we moved the show back to today, so we wanted all of us to be on the show for Oscar evaluation or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so yesterday I got to play for Jenny Olson in a master class, and Jenny Olson is a very prominent LA session flute player. She plays on all sorts of commercial things, hundreds of major motion pictures, featured very heavily on La La Land in particular, but lots of really big scores over the past, about 12-ish years. So it was really, really awesome getting to play for her, getting some advice from her.
Let's see what's happening in my neck of woods. Oh, I spent a lot of time watching Oscar movies and trying to get through as many of them as I can. 10 is too many, so I will never get through all 10, probably ever. Anything else that's happening on my end? I did my quarterly review over the last quarter, and I'm starting this next quarter that starts in a few days. Hopefully focusing on content creation. So I'm kind of excited for that transition. It's kind of a big lifestyle change in a weird way, but we'll see if I can manage it. So that's pretty much it for me. How about you, Nathan?
I've just been pretty busy with like school stuff over the weekend and stuff like that. I watched the Game Developers Conference Developers Choice Awards, so that's interesting.
Oh, so you do have awards to talk about.
Yeah, I guess. Although, I mean, I watched it today, like earlier today, so I didn't have time to look into like all these games I've haven't heard much about and stuff like that. So there's some games I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Never heard of that. So yeah.
And I guess a few housekeeping notes as a few people trickle in. We normally stream on Mondays at 9:30 p.m., not Tuesdays at 7 p.m. We're just doing this so that we could get Ben on board since he had his event yesterday for a quick Oscars review. And also, we have a locals page. So if you go to mixedmedia.locals.com, we have a page where you can go support us, and that really helps us get this content out. It's encouraging. There are costs for me. I had to spend not a lot of money, but some money to try to bang out these Oscar films, which I probably wouldn't have otherwise, forced myself to watch this many of them, in any given year, but wanted to do that for you guys. So if you could head over to mixedmedia.locals.com, you'll see a whole bunch of perks and stuff like that that you get for joining, including access to the live whiteboard. I finally pointed in the right direction. It's opposite. That's what it is. This live whiteboard over here. I wish I had my iPad. I could demonstrate it, but you can draw on it and do whatever you want, doodle, within reason, of course, as well as get your stuff reviewed, whether you're an indie dev or, a filmmaker or a musician or a photographer, whatever. Just hit us up and we'll review your stuff on the show, and hopefully that'll be helpful. So there are more perks than that. You just got to go check it out, mixedmedia.locals.com. And I think that's pretty much it for housekeeping. So how about news? Any interesting stuff happening well, maybe Oscars related news?
One last thing. It should be noted that I'm leaving early. So, I won't have like a segment this time.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I guess that's relevant to the podcast.
Yeah. Well, is there any gaming news, Nathan?
Nothing I can think about on top of my head other than the Game Developers Choice Awards, which I think personally is conducted in a better manner than the Video Game Awards. I was actually able to sit through the entire hour of it, like without like being like, "Why am I here?" That was good, but I can't think of anything particularly crazy in the news at the moment.
Cool.
Yeah, honestly, I spent most of my time thinking about and listening to all these scores, so I did not think about looking for anything. But I feel like that's probably where most of the news in the film music world is, at least, is with the Oscars. So,
Well, we could talk about the one piece of, I guess, Ratchet news that I found out about on the Discord because I didn't actually watch the Oscars. But I think Nathan posted it first or something like that. Yeah, and my initial reaction is that this was fake, and so I guess I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting thing because it sparked a lot of discussion around the Academy and its rules and all that stuff from like a filmmaking perspective. I went ahead and watched. I didn't even say what we're even talking about. The Slap heard around the world. Here, I'll pull it up because I actually downloaded it. I forgot that I did that earlier today. Here, let me pull it up real quick so you can see what we're talking about.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith.
The sound cuts out there in the original live feed, although I think you can find the sound somewhere else.
Yeah, because in the Japanese version, it was not censored.
Yeah, but then
Japanese version, same version, but on Japanese television.
Yeah. So, it sparked some interesting discussion, I guess, if you're into celebrity drama. But, even more interesting to me is the Academy side of things. Because after I watched it, I was like, I don't think this is scripted at all. I think this actually just happened. And I was surprised. I mean, like, literally, I don't think... these are actors, of course. So, I guess you could make the argument that there's some Oscar-worthy acting happening here, but no, I really don't think so. Just based off of Will Smith sitting back down, and his reaction afterwards was something outside of the bounds of probably would have been planned anyway if they were to plan something. And his initial reaction, of course, was to laugh at the joke, and then you can see Jada react negatively, and I think that's what sparked the reaction from Will Smith, which is not a detail I think would have been scripted, right? You don't think they would have scripted, him laughing first and then, and then reacting and then running up, whatever. But the discussion's mostly about, the Academy in, I think, 2017, in response to some Me Too stuff, instituted code of conduct for Oscar winners going forward from there. So, well, with a few notable exceptions, Kevin Spacey, end quote. But, the Academy's rule is essentially stuff like this. Like, this is assault, right? They literally assaulted him. His Oscar should be, in theory, forfeited that he literally just won, which was Best Actor Oscar, which would be kind of crazy to just win an Oscar, have a reaction, and then lose it the same day. That's pretty intense.
I think he hadn't won it. Didn't he actually get the award after this incident?
Yeah, afterwards.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's how it went down. Okay. Well, it would have been interesting if they had to switch the name last minute or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, there's discussions about, whether the rules are really rules or are they just, for show, and since there have been exceptions in the past made, and Kevin Spacey for unknown reasons, yeah, I don't really know, but that's the discussion in the Academy circles. I think most people have a negative reaction to this whole thing in terms of Will Smith's reaction. I saw some negative reactions with regards to Chris Rock's joke, although it was. I don't think it was a particularly funny joke anyway, but like it wasn't. It's just another comedian joke. I don't think there's much more to it than that. That's kind of the thing that you do at the Oscars is you roast people. So I don't know. I mean. That's the event in a nutshell. I don't know if you guys have thoughts.
Well, I will say it's the only part of the Oscars that I saw. I mean, afterwards, but yeah, I mean, apparently there's like, at least when I read this, some more like context too, in that like the last time this guy hosted the Oscars, he also made like said something about Will Smith's wife and.
There's some personal drama that I didn't want to get into that involves Chris Rock and some petty stuff.
I don't know. It means nothing to me. Like my frame of reference, I don't even know who. Like I know who Will Smith is, but I don't know what any of these other people are. I don't really care. But yeah, well, at least. I guess from the Oscars point of view, these people are talking about it. And that's not. I mean, for the wrong reasons. So I don't know. I've seen a lot of people saying, "Well, is this going to be what saves the Oscars and makes it relevant?"
Turn the Oscars into WWE.
Well, but I don't know. The focus is even less on the art now. Taking, not that the focus was on the art recently, that's been part of the problem, but yeah, and if you are on our Discord, you can see me complaining a little bit about that. But yeah, I don't think this is a way to get back to the art form.
No, and I actually have a feeling that the Academy is extremely embarrassed with this whole thing because it puts them in this weird, precarious situation. And most people have a negative reaction too, so it's a negative association. And, I talked about in the Discord a little bit. I'll talk about it a little bit more later. But, a lot of this stuff is like a divide in the types of people who are celebrities, right? And like the average everyday person. And this is just even worse because the average everyday person knows that if they did this randomly at a bar, there's like a good % chance that they'd go to jail. So for assault, because that's literally an assault.
Yeah, I kept seeing the argument like if there's a random person at the Oscars who wasn't Will Smith and they did that, they'd probably be like immediately, they'd have to leave,
And the police did respond, is my understanding, although I didn't verify that. They did arrive, which was more than I was expecting. And Chris Rock didn't press charges, which is not how that works usually with assaults, but whether or not that discretion is biased in this case or not, come to your own conclusions.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if, not that I know, but I wouldn't be surprised if the LA County had some like special police unit that is like for such events as this, I don't know. I don't know that. I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Yeah, me neither. And the only other news is there was a piece of news that came out a little while ago, but in my reading about the Batman, because I wanted to see how it did, like usual, in the box office, see how healthy it was for the cinema, is that its original leaked budget of $100 million, which would put it as a fairly cheap superhero movie, and made me excited, actually, that it was only made for $100 million. It also looks like it could have been made for only $100 million, not in a bad way at all, just like it didn't have as much, just over much, like, explosions and, just a lot of, Marvel-esque action sequences that would cost, millions and millions of dollars. So $100 million sounded like it was doable, but it turns out it actually cost $200 million is the more close to the official figure, which now puts it as at the third most costly Batman movie ever made. So much difference from the original thought, which kind of makes me a little bit more sad because, the film still did well, so in the up to now, it's made $674 million worldwide. And remember, you have to take its budget and double it to get its, total budget, including marketing, roughly speaking. So it's spent $400 million, and up to now, it's made $674 million worldwide. That's good that it made its money. It's going to make a lot more money, definitely. But it could have been so much better. We look at these things usually in terms of multiples, like how many times did they multiply their initial investment, and we haven't even multiplied it twice yet. So we'll see. We'll see what happens going forward with that film. Although in terms of personal experience, I think it was a quite the healthy thing for cinema. It was great to see a full theater on the third weekend or something like that. Full cinema for the Batman, and it actually being a competent and just solid, good, fun watch. That was a good thing, very good thing for cinema, and well loved by the audiences. So that was good. I got a clap on the third weekend at the end of it, which was literally surprised me. So that's a good thing, and that's it for cinema news, pretty much. If you want to see the live streams as soon as we're done, as soon as we're down, let's say you can't make it to our live show, but you want to hear our thoughts on something immediately instead of wait potentially 2 weeks because I'm really backlogged on editing, to hear the final podcast, then you've got to go to mixedmedia.locals.com, and that's one of the perks on there is getting access to the link to the raw live stream as soon as it's taken down. And you'll see all the gaffes as we talk about the weird sound issues that I have and internet connection problems that you normally get deleted out of the podcast. So there's my pitch. With that, I guess we'll go over to the Oscars music stuff. So let me cue the intro, and then we'll get going.